power of acceleration, the feeling of connection as wheels hit the pavement. It's a sensory experience that only Saab Aero owners are offered when they buy their vehicles. And at the Aero Academy, they learn how to drive these machines to the edge, pushing their own limits as well.
I've owned 6 Saabs. The first was a 2-cycle.
Students come from all over the country, and they're anxious to hit the road immediately. But first, there are basics to learn, a mixture of physics and vehicle dynamics.
A straight line with no cornering, maximum. The more cornering I'm doing, the less accelerating I can be doing. Okay, it just works like that. Now, we have another way that we look at this friction circle idea. And it's the same sort of diagram here. We're sort of measuring out the G forces that we're feeling, okay? Pure braking force is sort of a forward force. Cornering to the right would be a force in the other direction. Okay, everybody see how that works? And again, this circle would represent the theoretical limit. What I really want to get at here is the hands and feet part, the 2 big arrows there. And this is something that you don't typically think about. What you do with your feet on the throttle or the brake controls the front to back weight transfer in the car. Okay. What you do with your hands controls the side to side weight transfer. Okay, that balancing. And this is the part of driving that you typically don't think about. You now have to coordinate your hands and feet. In your everyday driving, people tend to kind of boil it down to this pedal makes it go, this pedal makes it stop, and this makes it turn. And you don't typically think a whole lot about the balance involved here.
It sounds pretty remedial, but this group will have to rethink their driving patterns that include everything from posture to proper handling of the wheel.
Or 12 and the shifter. 12 in the window. 6 in the window. We see this, all right? Yeah. 12 in the cell phone. 3 and 9 is what you really want to do. Now, you know in your car, right here, there's 2 little bumps on the steering wheel. Okay, those are not handles. It's not to hold on to. The little bump is to hold your thumb in this pocket right here. Okay, when you hook your thumb in there like that, that's what it's for. When you're at 3 and 9 and your thumb is hooked in here, look at what I can do. I can turn the wheel that far without letting go. Now, my fingers have had to let go, but my thumb is hooked in there solid. And I can go from there to there very, very quickly. All right, now watch this. If I move my hands to here and I try to turn the wheel, I'm stuck right there. Reposition. Look how much farther I can go. Okay, so it makes it, and it's even worse if you put your hands up at the top. Okay, you can really change. The other thing is when you're getting feedback from the car and you're feeling things through the steering wheel, I've got no muscle on the wheel. My arm is too straight. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you're going to find when you have to move the wheel real quick, which we're going to have to do, that's not going to work.
If that doesn't sound right, you're not confused. You probably learned to place your hands at 10 and 2 in driver's education. It's just one example, though, of how these rules are a little different.
Say we have a relatively mild corner, and I come up to the corner and I turn the steering wheel as far as it'll go as fast as I can. I'm going to take those front tires and go like this. The poor tires just can't accept that input that quickly, and they begin to slide. And you can imagine the car's sliding, right? And at some point you catch it, if you did it quick enough. And you go, oh, I got it. I caught it. And you're patting yourself on the back, and that's the most dangerous part of the whole thing. My front wheels are turned like this. The car just got traction. Where does it want to go? It wants to go back this way, right? Have you ever seen a car slide one way and end up spinning back around the other way? The reason is, when the car gets traction at that pause, you've got to do the last step there called recovery, straighten the steering wheel out, point the front of the car back where you want to go. And this is the part they never told you in driver's ed. It's the same way when you're driving. Your eyes lock in where you want to go. No matter what the car is doing underneath you, you always keep your head locked in the same spot.
Some students take lots of notes. Others grip themselves for the unknown. Their reasons differ for being here. Some want to drive more defensively. Others want to unleash and go as fast as they can. Pam, the only female in the class, is relocating and wants to handle heavy traffic better.
I'm really excited because I'm getting ready to move to San Diego, and I figure it'll really help me to sharpen my driving skills. because I've seen a lot of wrecks in San Diego. And wow, do they have a totally different driving style out there. I'm just hoping to hone my skills so that I'll be safer on the road and can anticipate any trouble before it happens. That way I can take evasive action with my car.
Vincent Orlando from Boston has owned many Saabs, but thinks that traditional driving schools don't teach the important stuff.
But I think learning how to drive well and learning how to be prepared for emergencies is something that that you never really learn. No one ever teaches you this. And this is great. I think everyone should go through this kind of school. I think they could call it defensive driving, as I will talk to my insurance agent.
Vincent's grandkids think he's here to become a race car driver. And all that isn't the goal. He's still feeling the pressure.
No, you only worry about doing something really dumb. That's the only thing you worry about. I mean, there's no physical danger. They do a very good job of constraining that, yes.
All the instructors have a professional racing background. They encourage the students to drive to the car's limits, but there's a process to go through.
In the beginning, when they first start this program, they really don't quite understand what their car's capable of, and it's pretty much a shock for most people. They begin to do things and get a little more comfortable, and then they start to see the light, so to speak.
The first and one of the most challenging exercises is a skid pad. Basically, a wet circular track that simulates inclement weather and challenges a driver's reaction.
We're going to experience understeer. And understeer is what we call push or plow, and that's when the front of the vehicle begins to slide.
Now it's Pam's turn to hit the skid pad. She's been waiting and watching, but nothing prepares her for the initial shock.
We're going to drive straight in. You're going to release the gas as we turn. And I want you to keep it tight to those cones in front of us.
Okay.
But as soon as we start to turn, your eyes need to go over there to that single cone.
Got it.
So let's drive through them. Just see how it feels. Speed, not going to be great, 20, 25 miles an hour.
I'm not looking
Come
at
in,
speed.
lift off the gas, turn in, keep your eyes over there, and then we're straight at it, okay? All right. We'll do
That
a
cone
little
gets kind of
U-turn
in
there.
the blind spot of my...
It is. Remember to keep your eyes up and around. Now we're going to go right back through, and
So I
now
think it's easier coming from this direction.
off the gas, turn down, looking for a cone. Remember to keep it nice and tight to those cones. And we'll drive straight over there, up and over, and do our little U-turn. So that's the way it's going to work. I want your eyes to be in that spot every single time.
Got it.
We're going to feel some understeer sometimes and some oversteer.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. We're going to hold it tight to the cones, lift off the gas, turn in, looking for your cone over there.
Whoa. Wow. I thought I was looking at that cone.
You were. We're going to get a little faster correction in there, and you'll see you'll be able to catch it. So we're coming in. Good speed. We're off the gas as we turn. Get ready. This will be a big one. Stay with it. Look at that. Look at that. Nice job. Nice job. All right. That was a very good job.
Oh, wow. It was a little bit scary at first when he yanked the brake and I went into a spin, but it was a really good feeling that, 2 or 3 times later I was in much better control of the car. So anyway, it's nice to have this in a closed track condition.
Dealing with skids is one thing. Controlling speed around turns and obstacles is another. At the Saab Aero Academy, students have to master it all. You're looking at a mini racetrack called the autocross. There are 12 tight turns to maneuver through and should take drivers roughly 30 to 35 seconds each lap. The first time out, none of the students get instructions.
Whoa. It's a little squeal there.
All right, this is a nice turn. I like this one here. Speeds out real good. Turbo boost kicked in, and we're flying. Nice.
They'll be asked to do it again after the course is through, and their times will be compared to see if they've improved.
Well, it's a tight curve there.
Well, I can make sure I stay in second gear with my wild fingers hitting the tip control too often.
It isn't easy, and whatever the parameters, the autocross is difficult to manage. Cass explains why.
Okay, so basically we want to connect together the tall cones, and the tall cones are going to help us with our line. As we come into this corner here, this is a decreasing radius corner. We're going to have to really be patient, tighten the steering wheel gently through the corner, and we're looking for a really fast exit on this corner. Puts us on this straightaway. On the straightaway, we're going to be able to really accelerate hard, get up quite a bit of speed, and then we'll have a heavy braking zone at the end. Important here to pull to the left as much as possible and then try to line up the car for a nice arc through this last corner. This is an increasing radius corner. It allows us to come out to the edge of the road. We then brake lightly. We're going to stay to the right through this turn so that we're in a good position to turn back for the next turn. We have to sort of set things up one turn in advance here. Then we accelerate full power through this next turn, and we'll have a heavy braking zone at the end of this straightaway. You hear the tires beginning to squeal a little bit. The tire squeal tells us that we are getting near the limit of traction, and that's actually a good thing. A light squeal from the tire tells us we're right at the limit of traction. Notice how my hands are moving in a very smooth, fluid motion. I'm not ever jerking the steering wheel. The braking occurs in a very aggressive fashion, but the steering itself is always very calm. Kind of have to separate things out. Your hands always are calm, while your feet on the brake pedal may have to get pretty aggressive.
All right, I think I'm getting a catch of it now. I'm getting a catch of it. All right. Slipped into first gear there once last lap. I can make up for that now. Keep from getting hands over hand on these tight turns and deal with the turbo boost kicking in on me.
Did you have any fun?
I had fun. You know what? I'm just now remembering what you told me.
The point of the autocross is learning how to combine car control skills, cornering, acceleration, and skid control, and it requires a great deal of focus.
You can begin to appreciate what a driver goes through, a racing driver goes through in that little 7 laps of that autocross course. I was fatigued at the end of it, and here that's like 3.5 minutes, not 3.5 hours. So you have to be impressed with the stamina and concentration of drivers.
Vince was a little disappointed with his speed on the first go-round, and he realizes how much more he's got to learn. Students thought it was difficult enough to do the autocross for us under the tick-tock of a stopwatch. Now it's even harder. Instructors have mounted a salad bowl on the hood of the car. It looks silly, but trying to keep the tennis ball inside from spilling out requires more than just a touch of driving finesse.
Oops, light almost went out.
The deal is to negotiate the turns as fast as you can.
Whoa!
But for some, there's a bit of a price for putting the pedal to the metal.
Oh, I lost it.
Okay, get a good driving position. Okay, you certainly want to be up high enough so you see where you're going. Okay, now don't forget the key on this one is smooth, smooth, smooth. That's why we call it the finesse. So pay attention to your braking. Keep your vision nice and high, because that's where you start to get rough. If your vision falls away, you'll be stabbing on the brake, the turns will be sneaking up on you. So keep it smooth. Try to keep the ball high up in the rim rather than having it roll from side to side.
I see.
Okay, makes sense. Takes a bit of practice.
It makes a lot of sense.
Take your first lap nice and slow, but you don't want to just putt around at 2 miles an hour, and then gradually pick your pace up, but paying attention to smooth transfer, brake, throttle, and steering.
Great. Thank you very much.
Looks good on paper?
Yes, sounds
Good
good. Great
stuff.
on paper. Thanks.
The trick is to keep your head high, not stare at the ball, and anticipate what's coming up.
So the whole purpose of the tennis ball in the salad bowl is to learn to drive the car in the smoothest manner possible, and to learn that the transitions and the changes that you make affect the weight transfer in the car. So in this particular exercise, I'm going to try to drive the car as quickly as I can without throwing the tennis ball out of the bowl. And you see how the tennis ball stays nice and stable. It's hardly moving as I get the ball as I get the car stabilized. I have to be very, very conscious of smooth steering inputs, smooth hands, smooth action on everything that I do. And I have to plan in advance for things like transitions where the tennis ball might get thrown out. Now, the real world application of this is certainly not to drive around with a tennis ball on your hood, but the application is that the tires behave in a very similar fashion, just at a much higher level. Another big thing that's very important in this exercise is to try not to look at the tennis ball as you're driving. You need to keep your eyes focused ahead of the car as much as possible. And that way, you'll have much smoother steering inputs. Your hands will be smoother. Everything that you do will be smoother and more gentle. Again, here in these long sweeping turns, you can see how the tennis ball stays very, very still. Almost no motion from the ball right up near the lip of the bowl. Very difficult to do that, to balance that ball right up on that edge, almost flopping out. The hands have got to be really smooth. Everything you do has got to be really, really smooth. The transitions are the hardest part. Okay.
Nice job on that.
Thank you very much.
You notice coming up the back, you can really get under the power. Once the ball is up near the rim, keep that smoothly there. You notice how much better you did this last two in here, right?
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thanks
Practice, practice, practice. Nice job.
The tennis ball test teaches students to drive faster and more smoothly, which will come in handy a little later when they're competing against the clock and each other for the best times. Driving is more than just acceleration, and at the Saab Aero Academy, braking techniques are focused on as well.
That was a pretty good try. And then what happens? Remember, if you're braking, if you want to brake really, really hard, the maximum braking is going to come while your steering wheel is still straight. That time, you almost started turning at the same time you started braking.
Did I?
So you needed to be hard on the brakes while your hands are still straight, so you could turn harder as the car continued to slow down. But you almost you were asking the tires to do a lot more than they're really capable of because you started turning so soon.
All right, thanks.
Hey, give me some toes.
Wipeout! He's our star student too. So,
Am I dragging a cone?
Yes, you are.
I forgot to look inward.
yeah, which cones were you looking at when you ran over it?
I don't know.
Like this one right here?
Got my reaction on that one, right?
Oh, we got the wipers going.
Yeah,
It's raining
wipers going.
So, you just gotta,
Where's how I back up to get the cone out?
well, we'll see what happens. I want to go over this first stuff.
Yes.
Your brakes were really, really good, but you were looking out to the outside. You just didn't turn the wheel nearly enough.
Okay.
Look more to the inside. You're always going to turn the wheel more.
Well, we got a bit of conage.
Yeah.
That's what happens when a driver looks at the targets instead of the opening, while they're slamming on the brakes.
It takes talent.
It's indestructible if it did that. Wow.
You gonna autograph it for us?
Sure.
There you go. It's amazing. You see the improvement after 4, 5, 6 tries. The moral of
That was
story
really, really
is
good.
on the road, you only
You could
get
see
one try.
how important the vision was. You almost,
Good stuff.
but you kept looking where you wanted to go, and you did. Nice job.
The changing lane exercise simulates accident avoidance and is tricky. When the light changes, drivers must switch lanes, ease off the brake, turn, and then stop all in a split second.
During some point in this, you might have to do a double lane change, changing from one side all the way across 2 lanes into the other side when it's a highway. That's a lot. That's a lot of steering input. So you're going to need a lot of steering input. So here's what you do.
Short distance.
See the lights turn green, you're going to accelerate quickly. Full power if you want to, up to a certain speed. Level off that speed. Wait for the lights to change. Enter the lane that you're designated to go into at a constant speed. Wait for the lights to change. When they do, go ahead and lift off the gas to allow the weight to transfer back to the front tire so they have a little bit more grip. You're going to steer a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean sometimes as much as you can get. You won't have time to change your hand position on the wheel. So start with a good wide grip, steer, in some cases till your arms touch. Because you can always take it back away, but you can't add any if you didn't add enough in the first place. Right, so till your arms touch, then you got to get it back into the lane. You want to get as far away from whatever's happened ahead of you as possible. Get it back in the lane. You're going to need a lot of steering input coming back as well. Get it straight, and then full braking using ABS to bring the car to a complete stop.
Okay, so the blinky light tells me where to start.
So yeah.
And then the wherever I see green is a permissible lane to get into.
Exactly. So remember, the lights are all going to turn green. You're going to accelerate quickly up to speed. You're going to level off that speed. Wait for the lights to change. When they do, you're going to ease off the gas. Turn really hard. Get into the lane. Get it straight. Get it back on the brakes hard.
Okay.
Lights green. Center lane.
Okay.
But your initial input with the car was very good, and you saw how much you had to defeat it.
Yes.
You've got, with the technology today,
Yes.
the cars can do the job. I mean, compared to 10 years ago, the cars are superior. But you've got to give the car the input. If you don't give it the input in the steering wheel, it's not going to turn. Good stuff. Big improvement.
Thank you.
You bet.
Squealing tires is the name of the game on the slalom track. Weaving in and out of the cones, the challenge is to keep the speed up and negotiate tight maneuvers while sustaining momentum.
On the slalom course, we're really looking to get the students to understand that there's a very specific relationship between their hands and their feet. Most of the time, people try to turn the steering wheel and give gas at the same time. This causes the nose of the car to lift up and the car begins to slide a little bit. What you have to learn is that you need to ease off the gas to help the car turn. So this course is designed to make a student understand the relationship between their hands on the steering wheel and their feet. This is a tremendous exercise for that. The students get to push the car right to the limit. We encourage them to get to the point where they're sliding a little bit, making a little noise. We have a saying around here that a squealing tire is a happy tire, so a little bit of tire noise is good.
You don't want any brakes because you don't want to transfer that much weight to the front. You just come off the gas just so we can get a little weight on the front. It's more responsive to our steering inputs. Okay, Andrew, you ready to go? Yep. All right, give it a shot.
I definitely see myself improving, like slowly improving with each run. You know, as they show us what the cars can do. And especially after sitting behind the wheel and going through each portion of the exercise, I get more comfortable and I could see like self going faster and more accurate and more safe.
More than just a driving course, Saab builds a community between the customers who attend the Aero Academy. An elegant dinner at the Chateau Elan in Atlanta helps to bring that about. John LIBBOS, product manager for the 9.3 and the 9.2X product line, is one of the Saab executives who attends the dinners. John shared with us more about his role at Saab and his involvement with the Saab Aero Academy.
That really involves setting specifications, doing competitive pricing, competitive analysis, and getting involved with programs such as the Saab Aero Academy. This program wasn't my vision, but my boss's, and his vision really was to give people a unique experience, teach them some good, proper driving techniques, something you might need with a high-powered front-wheel drive sedan. We give what I would call a unique driver and control experience. You feel very, very connected to the car. You can feel direct feedback from the road surface you're driving on and direct response and input when you give that back to the car. We get several things out of this program. Probably foremost, we get direct feedback from our customers because we get to join them both during their exercises here at the track and at dinner one evening, and we get a nice face-to-face, eye-to-eye conversation, dialogue. I am in a position to do that.
93SS Aero 2, if you heard of such a thing?
93SS Aero 2. They give us lots of feedback on what they like, what they don't like, what they'd like to see in the future. What's unique about this experience is that it's really standard equipment, if you will. It comes as part of the package when you purchase a 9.5 Aero, whereas some of our competitors' programs are a pay-as-you-go type of a program. We are, in fact, giving people some skills that they didn't have when they arrived here. Very, very positive experience. I think it sort of cements the ownership experience for them as well. And again, for very selfish reasons, we like that. We hope we're offering them a unique experience, one that they won't find just everywhere, so that in the future, they'll consider us the next time they're out looking for a car.
Now it's back to the skid pad, and this time the students must drive an autocross style course while maneuvering from dry to slippery surfaces. The academy is almost over, but the real test of improvement is riding on one thing, the timed autocross. Students are divided into two teams, and each team will vie to see whose combined times are the fastest.
The way this will work
Tell
is,
them our name.
yeah, these guys decided they're the premature accelerators. And we had a few incidents of driving straight off the road under full power. We're good for that. Okay, the way this is going to work, the guys have placed the car in a box designated by the 4 cones that are laying down. Okay? The car is going to start and stop in that box every time. The wheels have to be within the confines of the box. If the bumper overhangs a little bit, you're okay. But if you overshoot the box when you stop, you got to back up. The way it'll work is your first driver will be in the car, strapped in, ready to go. When the car moves, the watch begins. That driver will drive 2 laps. Once passed, at the end of the second lap, they stop in the box, get out, put it in park, get out, walk over to the cones there, tag the next teammate, walks to the car, get in, seatbelt on, off you go. 2 laps, stop, and so on and so on and so on. Now you don't have to worry about counting so much. I mean, 2 laps is not that hard. But one of the guys will be standing there kind of at the front to stop you, to show you where the front of that box is. Okay, one of our guys will. Penalties, 3 seconds for each cone that you hit, so that can add up real quick. 5 seconds if you happen to run when you're changing drivers. And we define running as both feet off the ground at the same time. Okay, so you can heel toe as fast as you can go. Just please don't fall down. That's the worst injuries we ever have. Somebody falling down, okay? If you fly all 4 wheels off the road, you may very well get a penalty of 5 to 10 seconds depending on the severity of the infraction, depending on how many cones you hit. I may be nice to you, I may not. It's up to me. Also, if you abuse the car in some form or fashion, that could be as much as a 30-second penalty.
What's abuse?
And abuse usually means putting the car into park while you're still going 20 miles an hour as you're stopping. Okay, and if you hear that awful sound, you can count on probably getting some sort of penalty for your team. Okay, so make sure you stop before you put it in park. Don't waste a lot of time getting in and out of that car. That's a big, big part of this, okay? So really think about that. Think about your driver order. You know, maybe height has something to do with that. I won't say much more. Think about what you need to do with that seat belt. Okay, you all know if you pull quick, it's going to lock up. All right. Now, fastest time of the day today has been Eric with his 29:31. So you guys get to decide if you want to go first or second.
Second.
Second first. And your final answer is third.
You guys want to go second or first?
Second.
I think second.
We'll go second.
Okay.
Okay, they're going to go second. So the premature accelerators are going to go first. And you've got one less person, so somebody's going to drive twice. They can't drive twice in a row, obviously. They got to get out and get back in. Yeah, whatever you want to do. And, you know, your fastest driver was Ken, so you might want to let him go twice. Okay, so the premature accelerators head down to the cones there, and we're going to get you started.
Let's see how line up according to
Now,
height.
it's just going to take about 10 minutes per team, 8 minutes per team.
I need a break.
Need a bathroom break? Okay, now, one other thing. The team that's not driving, you guys need to stay up here, okay, behind the fence for safety, but heckling is strongly encouraged, okay? So, actually, last week, they did a really good one. They had, there was 2 other teams, we had 3 teams, and they were all standing at the line of fence, and they picked this one guy who was like most likely to fall for this. And poor guy, he got in the car and he took off, and they all screamed, "Stop! Stop!" And he stopped right there, and he looked up, and he was like, what's wrong? And this whole team's down there screaming, "Go, go!" It cost him about 10 seconds. Poor guy.
Okay, we want to go basically from shortest to tallest. Anybody in disagreement? We want to start with Vince. Your time improved so much from yesterday, you ought to be the starter. And then, which one of you guys wants to go next? 2, 3, I'll go 4. Do you want to do 5? We'll put Norm last. Or do you want to do last?
He should be.
You want to be last. You're the fastest.
The premature accelerators go first. One by one, each team member kicks it into gear, takes a lap, tags the next person, and tries to avoid getting penalties like hitting cones, running, or parking too far up or too far back.
Once I realized I was the first wheel.
Keep your cool, guys.
One more time.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
Pressure's on. Okay. Keep calm. Take those. Big cones. Good job. Very nice.
Oh, that's good. Look at that. This is good. No cones so far. Doing fine. That was nice. If you watch right here, guys, you may see the rear tire come up off the ground right over the top of that apex cone. Just watch on the next driver. Well, you won't be able to see, but you don't look for that. Now, Pam, at the end of your second lap, all you have to do is stop. You don't have to get out. Nope. But he does have the rear window wiper on, so that's always good.
Remember, breathe.
Breathe, deep breaths.
Remember, Pam, break.
Break. Brake more. Okay, brake.
Good stop. Get out of that car.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Slow seatbelt. Gosh. I'm trying to get the seat up.
Bring it.
She wasn't listening. Car's coming.
Oh!
Nice save! Excellent.
You know, I guess that was kind of the breakthrough moment, putting all our skills together, and I didn't hit a cone, you know, so that was a real good sense of accomplishment. Because go, I'm like, I can't.
The 7 saboteurs then have their turn at hitting the pavement.
Now, basically, as soon as you're ready, you go, and I will begin the watch as soon as you move. Okay, and then watch for Rob to stop you on your second lap.
Pull that seat belt!
Yep. There we go.
Wind it up!
Yeah, right there.
Very quickly, very quickly. Very good. Handbrake's on.
Go, faster. Handbrake. Ah, shoot.
Walk, run, hurry!
Slowly, don't trip. Slowly.
He's on a mission.
Wait, there you go. No running. Stay behind the line. Don't move it. Heel and toe. No running.
Good. Walk.
No running.
Very nice.
That's really good.
Good run. Big walk.
Walk.
There you go.
It's gonna be pretty close. going to be very, very close. He's got one more lap to go. Got a few seconds. I think they're going to pull it off here. It's going to be very, very close.
Go team! Go team! Hey!
You gotta go tell us. We don't have a tie. You're first or second. It's within 10 seconds. It's within 10 seconds, one way or the other. All right, we're gonna load up all the cars and head back up to the classroom now.
Is this Survivor? Gotta go back. Gotta go back to the
Gotta
traffic
go
council?
back. We're gonna kick somebody out now. It's the tension building.
When the results were read, the teams were only 7 seconds apart in time. That means each team member improved on his or her time, and pretty much every driver was on the same level. That's a rare occurrence for the school, and it's an incredible accomplishment for the group.
On our team competition, the first team that went the premature accelerators with a total team time of 9 minutes 50 seconds. The second team that went the 7 saboteurs, 7 saboteurs, 9 minutes 43 seconds.
Everyone got certificates, and Vince even won an award for the most improved driver. It's a significant moment, he says he's going to share with his grandkids.
I've got some pictures of cars running sideways, and I'll show them what I was really doing. And I'll tell them I was listening to Ferraris. They'll like that.
And for these owners, there's no denying each is riding high.
Sometimes they would take us on a route to preview it, and it was a real heart thumper. They would say, okay, you want to do it? And I thought, I think I'll wait a moment, let someone take their turn. That way I can calm down and get my composure, because, I mean, it was really more intense than I expected.
For, I guess, the racing school, just be a better driver. This has been so much fun.
So I really didn't quite know what I was getting into, and it's exceeded anything that I had thought about. It's just wonderful. It's really an experience.